now let's start with next type of habitat, that is aquatic habitat. Till now we discussed about types of terrestrial habitat. As in the beginning we said that we already discussed that the habitat, it is divided into two categories. One is terrestrial habitat and second one is aquatic habitat. So terrestrial habitat we have already done. Now let us start with next type of habitat, that is aquatic. So aquatic habitat means what? Aquatic means in water. So that means here we will discuss about plants and animals that are present in water. Now this aquatic habitat, it can be divided into two types. Number one, freshwater habitat, and number two, marine habitat. Now in freshwater habitat, the water bodies that usually comes under are river, ponds and lakes. Because river, ponds and lake, they are called freshwater bodies. So they constitute freshwater habitat. Here in case of marine habitat, oceans and sea, that is the water bodies which contain salty water, they constitute marine habitat. Now this type of habitat, it basically occupy about 3/4 of our planet. Now plants and animals which are present in freshwater habitat, some of the examples: in plants like lotus, water lily, etc. And in case of animals, fish, ducks, frogs, etc. So these are some of the plants and animals, they constitute freshwater habitat. Whereas in case of marine habitat, plants and animals which constitute this type of habitat are seaweed and algae. Whereas in animals, we can give example of blue whales, sharks, etc. So let us start with first adaptations which are usually found in case of aquatic habitat plants that grow in aquatic habitat. So first, which is a very common feature among the plants that grow in this kind of habitat, is that they have highly reduced roots. Now what is the reason why they have highly reduced root? Because of the presence of excess of water. So there is no scarcity of water. So that is why the function of root is highly reduced, because the main function of the root is to absorb water, and as already excess of water is present, so the function of root is reduced. Now second is root, stems and leaves of most aquatic plants, they have air spaces. Why they have air spaces? Because it helps them to float in water, which help them to float in water. You must have observed that some of the plants, they seem to float in water. So they may be able to float in water because of this feature, that is that they have air spaces. Either in some of the plants it is in case of root, in some of the plant it is present in the stems, and in some it is in leaves. Third one is waxy coating. Leaves of most of the aquatic plants, they have waxy coating. And they have waxy coating, why? Because they are present in water. So to avoid getting rotted, they have this waxy coating. Next is some of the plants, like in case of hydrilla, which grow underwater. They have flexible stems and they also have narrow ribbon-like leaves, so that water can easily flow without tearing the leaves. So these are some of the common features with which aquatic plants are able to survive in this kind of habitat. Now in case of animals, what are the features that help them to survive in a better way in this kind of habitat? So number one is streamlined bodies. So the animals like fishes, they have streamlined bodies which help them to move easily through the water. Now what is a streamlined body? body. Streamlined body means it is a shape which is narrow from the front and which is broad from the middle. For example, as you must have seen the ships, the shape of ship, they are narrow from the front and they are broad from the middle. So this kind of shape is known as streamlined shape. So most of the aquatic habitats, either they have streamlined body, or while moving through the water, they acquire the shape of streamline. So it helps them to move easily through the water. Secondly, some of the features, like in case of fishes, gills, fins and tails are there, which help them to breathe and to swim easily through the water, within the water. Next is in some of the animals like whales and dolphins, which are mammals, they have nostrils, or these nostrils are called blowholes, which are present on the top of their head. So this is basically meant for breathing. They usually come on the surface of water to take in air. So this is all about the adaptations which are present in animals in case of aquatic habitat. So with this, now all the topics of the chapter Habitat of Living we have covered. So now revise full chapter and do all the topics carefully. Now let us revise aquatic habitat through some of the fill-ups. Now question number 1. What are freshwater bodies? So we have already done that: river, pond, lake, ocean, sea. All these are water bodies, and the organisms which live in these water bodies, they are called aquatic animals. Now among all these, what are fresh water bodies? So river, next one pond and lakes. These are freshwater bodies. Second is oceans and seas are water bodies that contain dash water. Because river, pond, lake, these are freshwater bodies. So sea and ocean, they are not considered as freshwater body because they contain a particular type of water, that is salty water. They contain salty water. So that is why they are referred to as marine habitat. Next, third one. In aquatic habitat, plants have dash roots. So what kind of roots generally plants have in case of aquatic habitat? It is reduced roots. And then last one. Can you name one of the example or one example of the plant which grow underwater, that is having flexible stem? Can you just guess out the name? Okay, the name is Hydrilla. Hydrilla is one of the examples that we have done. So it grows underwater, having flexible stem, and what kind of